How's everybody doing today? And as you can see, we are going to be starting our very first rebuild in franchise mode on MLB The Show 18. And we're going to be using the Philadelphia Phillies, who have a lot of youth prospects and a lot of good players that could definitely develop into some superstars. You got Rhys Hoskins, you have Jake Arrieta, who just joined, JP Crawford, Nick Williams, Odubel Herrera, Michael Franco. So there's a lot of good pieces there, and they're just this close away from becoming a really good team. So if you guys want to see some more rebuilds, hit that like button down below, subscribe if you are new and enjoyed the content, and also in the comment section down below, let me know some other teams you'd like to see rebuilt. Obviously, like there's the Marlins, there's some other good teams that are just a couple steps away. Well, not the Marlins. The Marlins are pretty bad right now, but there's some teams that are a couple steps away from becoming really good teams. There's you have teams like the Toronto Blue Jays, who are they have Vlad Guerrero Jr. and Bo Bichette coming up in the ranks, who could turn into really good superstars. You have the Chicago White Sox, who have Kopech, the pitcher who throws gas. You have Eloy Jimenez, and you have a couple other players in their prospects in their farm system. The Twins made a lot of moves in the offseason. The Angels are a couple moves away from becoming really, really good. The Astros are just a powerhouse. The Braves have Acuna. So there's a lot of good teams that are just a couple steps away from becoming really good in the future. So if you guys want to see some more rebuilds, let me know. Hit the like button. Subscribe if you are new. And let's hop into this without any further ado. GM contracts, turning them off. Just in case this lasts a little bit longer than 3 seasons, we're going to turn everything to manual, hop into the regular season, and I'm going to do a couple things behind the scenes, make sure all my settings are set correctly, let the AI control a couple things, and then I'll be right back, show you the lineups, and then go from there. I'll catch you all in a second. Alrighty, so this is the current starting rotation. Jake Arrieta, 88 overall. And you guys are probably thinking how I've done this without, with the current MLB situation, because Jake Arrieta is actually a free agent in the current MLB roster. So I used a vault roster to add the current updates for all the free agency signings and also some prospects. So there's Acuna, there's Vlad Guerrero Jr., there's Bo Bichette, and there's a couple other ones that the MLB rosters don't currently have. So go always check out your vault rosters. If you're looking for an up-to-date roster, there's a lot of good ones out there. So this was like the one that I found that looked the best. I went through a few of them just to see which ones looked best in terms of realistic overalls, realistic potentials, and stuff like that. So this is the one I'm using. We're going to be doing a rebuild. Trades, I'm not really going for realism. I'm going for build this team up as quick as possible, as best as I can. So Arrieta is our ace. We got Aaron Nola, 83 overall. He's a young player, B potential, looks to be a decent player to start using. Hopefully he develops quickly, maybe take over that Arrieta spot. Since Arrieta is 32, he should probably start decreasing in the future. Eckhoff is 27. He's an 80 overall. He could be a mainstay in the rotation as long as he performs well. And Vince Velasquez and Ben Lively, both mid-20s and have decent potential, so they could develop since they're in the mid-70s, and they could turn in some pretty decent pitchers as well. In the bullpen, we don't have any good lefties, so that is my number one concern with this squad. Adam Morgan is not staying in the bullpen. He's not good enough for the majors. In terms of this squad, Luis Garcia looks decent. Francisco Rodriguez is too old. He's going to start declining. We're going to need to replace him. Hector Neris is a closer in a setup role, and I've had mixed performances with him in previous MLBs, so I don't know if I want to keep him or not. Sometimes he does really, really good, and other times he does horrible. So he's one of those players that I just can't really trust, so I might have to offload him. And another player I'm definitely looking to offload is Pat Neshek. He's got a $7 million contract for the next 2 years, and he's 37 years old, so he's gonna decrease rapidly. So right away I need a lefty in the bullpen, and Neshek has to go. So maybe Neshek for a lefty, that might be the move. Maybe Hector Neris for a lefty and Neshek for a lefty. Maybe get a new closer. But that's the game plan. Kind of strengthen the bullpen, bring in some youthful players, bring in a lefty, and that's the plan there. In terms of our lineup with the no designated hitter lineup. On the bench, we got Aaron Arthur, a 27-year-old left fielder. I think he's got like C potential, so he's not really going to develop that much more, maybe 79 the cap. But he looks to be a decent platoon player, can play all across the outfield. And like I said, he's 77 overall, so he looks to be pretty decent. Cameron Rupp is going to be our backup catcher. He's 29 years old, 73 overall. Decent player, nothing special, but he'll definitely get the job done. Adam Rosales is going to be dropped for a youth prospect, a second baseman youth prospect who's really hyped in real life for the Phillies, who actually just signed a crazy contract. And I'll show you guys that player in a second. Andrew Knapp is probably going to be traded just because he's got B potential. He's 26 years old, and we currently have Jorge Alfaro in this catcher position, so I don't really think we need another catcher, because Cameron Rupp is a good enough backup. So I might use Knapp for some trade offers, see what we can get, and possibly find a new like bench player, rotational player in that regards. Tommy Joseph's going to be our backup first baseman, 70 overall. He's mid-20s, and he's a good little backup. He'll get the job done there. In terms of the actual starters, Odubel Herrera is going to be our starting center fielder for the foreseeable future. As long as he continues to perform well, he'll develop into the 80s. Even though he has C potential, he is 26, so he's still pretty young, and he has the ability to develop pretty well. Nick Williams, he's a player that has really high potentials, mid-20s. So he definitely can hit the 80s and keep going. 83 speed, decent contact. He's a lefty, play all across the outfield. So I'm really looking forward to see how he develops. Cesar Hernandez is our best player. And I really like the looks of him. Good contact, good fielding. So I definitely think he'll be a good mainstay in the lineup. I may even use him as our leadoff hitter just because his contact is so good. Rhys Hoskins, I'm going to move him back to first base. I don't like Carlos Santana. I think in real life it's a good signing, but for MLB it's just not. He's 31 years old. He's got a $4 million contract here in MLB, so that's a lot of cap space that I don't really want to use, and I'd rather save it up for this year's free agency or find a player that we can use right away in a trade. So right away I'm looking to remove Neshek, Carlos Santana, and Andrew Knapp, and bring in some players that can definitely make an impact this year. So like I said, Rhys Hoskins is that mainstay at first base. So much power, and he just has the ability that I think will develop into a really good first baseman. Michael Franco is our third baseman for the foreseeable future, 78 overall, 25 years old with B potential, and he looks to be just a player that will develop really well. Like I said, Alfaro is going to be our catcher. Good arm and fielding, and he'll develop. He's got B potential, and he's a young player. He's 24 years old. And this is the player that's really hyped up for the Phillies right now, JP Crawford, known for defensive ability. Hopefully his batting will increase. He's A potential, bats lefty, and he's 23 years old, so he definitely has the ability to develop and turn into a really good player. Like I said, we have a lot of youth in this squad that can develop really quickly, but at the same time it can hurt us because they are, they're young. They don't really have the same ability as, a Cesar Hernandez, who has high contact, but they can also develop really quickly and they can turn into amazing players. So with that being said, I'm going to make a couple roster moves in terms of trades, maybe look in the free agency pool, and I will catch you all when I figure out what I want to do with Carlos Santana, Pat Neshek, and Andrew Knapp. Alrighty, so the first trade we're going to be making is Pat Neshek, Andrew Knapp, and Enyel de los Santos. He's a B potential, 67 overall pitcher who's 22. But when you look at our starting pitching, we have Sixto Sanchez, who's like really hyped in real life, who's an A potential. We got Quilome, who's B potential, Pivetta B potential, Dominguez B potential, Romero B, Medina B, Suarez B. Like, we have a lot of good pitching in our system, so I'm really fine with losing this pitcher, De Los Santos, Knapp, and also Neshek for Ender Inciarte, who's got it all, and we really need a new outfielder since we just put Hoskins into the first base position. So I'm going to move Odubel Herrera to left, Inciarte to center, and that should really solidify our outfield. And we're actually going to be gaining $2 million in salary space with this trade since Neshek has such a high salary. So this is the trade we're going to be making. I'm really liking adding Inciarte. So now I'm going to be looking to move Carlos Santana and maybe another one of our starting pitching prospects to find, you know, maybe just some more that lefty arm in the bullpen. Alrighty guys, so I pulled magic out of nowhere. Carlos Santana, and again, I'm getting rid of two of our better pitching prospects. But for immediate impact, we're going to get Andrew Miller, the 97 overall lefty reliever from the Indians. I can't pass this up. He's too highly rated. We're getting rid of players that we're not using right now, and a player I can't have in our squad anymore, Carlos Santana. Like I said, I'm moving Rhys Hoskins to first, and adding this bullpen arm is just too good to pass up. So we're going to make the trade. Andrew Miller's in the squad. So right now our pitching rotation is looking really good. I'm gonna move Neris to our closer position. Miller, so far so good. I may look to find one more arm just to kind of solidify everything, just because we don't really have long relief, so that we can get Morgan out of there, add one more arm in, and that'll be the last move up until the trade deadline day. Alrighty guys, so I'm not going to make any more moves. I'm going to trust in what we have currently. So this is the lineup, and this is the guy I was talking about. Scott Kingery is really hyped in real life. The Phillies just signed him to like a 6-year deal. And he hasn't even taken a swing in the majors yet. So he's a second baseman, 69 overall, B potential, 23 years old. Looks to be a player that could definitely develop. So this year, this is our lineup. We got Kingery, Arthur, Rupp, and Joseph on the bench. Inciarte, Odubel Herrera, Cesar Hernandez, Rhys Hoskins, Nick Williams, Franco Alfaro, and JP Crawford. So far, we're looking really good. Even the pitching rotation looks solid. Obviously, the 4 and 5's a little weak, and then Morgan is kind of a little bit of a risk, a potential risk. But overall, we're looking pretty solid. The additions of Andrew Miller and Ender Inciarte look to really solidify this lineup. That was a crazy trade that I pulled off from Miller. So we're gonna fast forward all the way to the trade deadline, and I'll catch you all in a bit. Alrighty, so I made a trade. So we're moving another one of those pitchers that have high potential, starting one in Jojo Romero, and we're getting rid of our closer Neris, because like I said, he's hit or miss, and right now he's already starting to drop, and he's just not performing. He's not doing well. He's got a 5 ERA, and we're going to bring in Corey Knebel of the Brewers. He's looking pretty solid, a 169 ERA, 86 overall, definitely an upgrade to what we currently have. So I think this is the way to go for the future. Alrighty, so again, another good trade, adding depth to our pitching rotation. So right now, Andrew Miller, Corey Knebel, Ramos, we're looking decent. I think we could do a little bit better, maybe pull... Let's see, free agents. Do we have anything here? Maybe Trevor Rosenthal to add some more depth. But for now, let's see how it goes. Hop back into the season, and I'll see you all at the trade deadline. Alrighty, so at the trade deadline, we're 47 and 60. We're gonna take a quick look to see how things are going. Maybe there's someone on the disabled list, which may. JP Crawford's been out for a little bit. He was hitting 280, so that's kind of something that is a little bit to worry about. Jake Arrieta's 5 and 9, another thing to worry about. Aaron Nola's 8 and 9. Jared Eichhoff 6 and 8. Vince Velasquez 4 and 6, and Ben Lively 8 and 6. So really, our pitching seems to be letting us down a little bit. Maybe we need to bring in a new starting pitcher. In terms of Corey Knebel's letting me down a little bit with his ERA. But Andrew Miller seems to be proving worthy of that trade. In terms of our lineups, Cesar Hernandez is hitting 332, which is great to see. Odubel Herrera is almost at 300. Inciarte's hitting 345. Rhys Hoskins is hitting 264. Could be a little bit better. Nick Williams, 230. Michael Franco, 225. Kingery is actually starting now since the injury to JP Crawford. He's hitting 250, which is good to see, and Alfaro's hitting 225. On the bench, we got Arthur with 270. Cameron Rupp and Floremon's not doing too good, under 150. Dylan Cousins in 40 at bats, he's hitting 375, so he's doing pretty good, and a 229 average for Tommy Joseph. Rhys Hoskins definitely needs to pick it up in the 4 spot. 264 isn't bad, but I'd like to see him push that 280, 290 mark. Same with Nick Williams and Michael Franco. Otherwise, batting wise, it seems like we're doing pretty good and producing the runs. It just seems like our pitching is letting us down. So right now I'm going to see if I can find a starting pitcher to boost our rotation, and I'll catch you all in a second. Alrighty, so the trade we're going to be making at the deadline is Vince Velasquez, who's been a little bit underperforming this year. He is our 3rd best pitcher, but he's almost at a 6 ERA. We're getting rid of Santo Dominguez and then also Quilome. I know we're getting rid of a lot of our prospects, but we still have plenty more. We still have Eichhoff, Lively, Pivetta. Sixto Sanchez is developing quite well. We got Eflin, Ferreira. So we still have some pretty good pitching prospects to work with. And I feel like adding a lefty to the rotation will be really nice. Switch it up. And Jordan Montgomery is having a really solid season. 12-4 with a 2.43 ERA. So adding a lefty to the mix should definitely spice things up, and it definitely makes our lineup look a little bit stronger for sure. So hopefully things will turn around now, and we can win some more games. Maybe add a relieving arm, but I'm probably gonna leave it there. We're gonna sim to the end of the season, and I'll catch you guys when everything's done. Alrighty, so at the end of the season, we finished at 76-86. Not as good as I would have hoped, but I feel really confident headed into the second season that we'll definitely be able to add some pieces in the free agency. We won't be able to make any big splashes, but we should be able to make some solid additions in the offseason. So let's quickly look at how everything turned out. 6-13 from Arrieta is not good enough at all. He did finish with under a 4 ERA, but 6-13 is just not good. Jordan Montgomery, 17-6, a pretty solid outing by him. Aaron Nola, 12-12. Eichhoff, 9-10. That's okay. Ben Lively, 11-10. So he kind of picked it up. These two kind of picked it up towards the end of the year. Same with Aaron Nola. In terms of our bullpen, Jenk Thompson seemed to do pretty poor, 8 ERA. Ramos seems to do okay, a 4.14. Luis Garcia, almost a 6. Adam Morgan, under 3, which is nice to see. Corey Nebel had a 3.61 ERA, so he kind of seemed to do average. Tommy Hunter with the 4.23, and then Andrew Miller with a 3.35. So it looks like our pitching really let us down this year. In terms of batting, a 358 for Cesar Hernandez. That's nice to see. Almost a 280 for Odubel Hernandez with 12 homers and 55 ribbies. Ender Inciarte hit 300 as well. 315 with 69 RBIs. That's great to see. Rhys Hoskins is up to an 88. He hit 280, which is what I was hoping he would get to. 41 homers and 114 ribbies. Tommy Johnson, our DH, our backup first baseman, hit 219. Would kind of hope to see a 250 from him. Nick Williams got at least to a 240. He hit 10 homers and 50 RBIs or 60 RBIs. Not that great, and he's also not developing, which worries me. So I'm kind of on the fence about him, seeing if he'll develop. Michael Franco is almost an 80. He hit 235, and then Jorge Alfaro hit 238 with 13 homers and 58 RBIs, and JP Crawford hit 280, which is great to see. He came back from his injury and performed pretty well. Scott Kingery hit 260, which is great to see in his debut season. He's still a 72. Authors hit 280. Cameron Rupp hit under 200, which isn't good to see. And Dylan Cousins hit pretty well in the 66 at bats that he had this season. So really looking at these three that or these four really led the team in hitting, and towards the bottom it kind of tailed off, and then JP Crawford kind of started it again. So after this season, I'm looking at Nick Williams as someone that we may need to replace in free agency. I know there's Bryce Harper, but I don't think I'll be able to afford him unless I move some pieces. But I really like the team we've put together. I know there's a couple cheap options that are high rated in the free agency pool that we could pick up. So Nick Williams may be someone that needs to be replaced. Maybe move Aaron Arthur in a trade to open up some more cap space, and then go from there. So awards. Let's look at awards real quick. For the first year, most valuable player was Bryce Harper in the National League. Cy Young was Carlos Martinez from the Cardinals. Cesar Hernandez won the batting title with a 358 average. Sean Doolittle was the reliever of the year, and rookie of the year was Garrett Cooper. Bryce Harper won the Hank Aaron Award, and then everything else I'm going to go through really quickly. If you guys want to see any of those, go ahead and pause it at any time. And then we'll move into the American League. Josh Donaldson won the MVP in the American League. Cy Young was Chris Sale. Donaldson with the batting title, and the reliever was Chapman. Gleyber Torres won Rookie of the Year. And then, again, I'm going to move through these pretty quickly. So, again, if you need to see any of them, go ahead and pause at any second. In the playoffs, we're going to look at that real quick. We currently have the Cubs versus the Nationals. The Indians versus the Astros, and then the Dodgers are waiting for their wild card game against the Brewers and the Rockies, and the Yankees are waiting for theirs, Toronto and Boston. We're gonna quickly sim just a little bit to see where we are in the playoffs. Now you can see Houston's got a 2-0 lead. We'll go a little bit farther. It's looking like Houston versus the Yankees in the ALCS, and the Cubs versus the Dodgers in the NLCS, and the winner of the World Series is going to be the Dodgers defeating the Yankees. That's a pretty interesting one to see. And we're gonna move into the off season because I'm ready to see what we can do. I'm gonna go through all the contracts. I'll show you the guys that I offer the contracts to, so that you can see who I'm bringing back. Other than that, the next time I'll see you is the contract screen. Alrighty, so I'm going to offer Andrew Miller a 4-year, $32 million deal. He wants to be the closer, so I'm going to give him that opportunity. He's 94 overall. He had a decent year last year. Hopefully he can continue his run as our lefty in the bullpen. Moving into our staff is still all under contract, so we're gonna move straight into free agency. The other players I just really weren't intrigued by at all. You can see I have Francisco Rodriguez, who just didn't perform well. He's also 37. Rosales is 35, and Flaherty, who's 32. None of them are going to be important to the squad in the future, so we're just going to keep moving forward. And next time you'll see me is when we go through all the contracts that I offered to our players. Alrighty, so the offers I have on the table are Nola's contract, a 3-year, $12.1 million deal. Eichhoff, I'm on the fence about, and I think there's going to be other players with similar statistics that I can get for the same, if not cheaper, so I might pass on him. Luis Garcia, he pitched okay. And for a 77 overall pitcher, a 1-year, $1.3 million deal isn't that bad. Adam Morgan, same thing, just under $1 million. Corey Knebel, 3-year, $7.8 million deal. 1 year, 2 for Rupp. Tommy Joseph, 2 years for $1.7. Cesar Hernandez, a 2-year deal for just under $8 million. And then Michael Franco for a 3-year for a $9.4 million deal. Arthur, again, another one of those players. I think I can find a replacement for a lot cheaper. He wanted about $3 million for a year, and I'm just not really willing to pay that. So we're gonna hop into free agency and go through our tender contracts, and I'll show you the contracts that most important for these ones. Alrighty, so the offers that really mattered here: Jordan Montgomery, 3 years for just under 7. Ben Lively, 2 years for 1.6. I thought that was a pretty good deal to get. Ramos, 2 years, 2.5. Alfaro, 2 years, 1.4. Rhys Hoskins, 5 years, 20 million. Kingery, 2 years, 120,000. And then JP Crawford, 2 years for 2.7. And Nick Williams, 2 years for 950,000. So not too much spent. We're going to be entering free agency with a decent amount. I might still make a trade because I saw there was a couple players I'd be looking to move based on how young they are and their potential. So I'm going to try to make a quick trade, then see if I can do anything in free agency. I'll catch you all in a second. Alrighty, so I went out and went for a reliever, and the relievers really weren't that good. They were like mid 70s, high 70s. So I decided to go out and get another closer. But he agreed to a bullpen position, and that's going to be Sean Doolittle, 32 years old. Yeah, I know he's a 90 overall though, and he looks to be a really solid option in terms of bullpen. We needed another lefty, and I feel like that definitely makes the pitching rotation and just like what we have in the bullpen look so much nicer now. So I'm going to rotate everything around, and I'll show you guys the squad after our free agency moves. Alrighty, we're going to be doing one more trade unless I can think of anything else. We're going to be getting Cy Young winner Carlos Martinez, 27 years old, 86 overall, for more pitchers and one of our highest rated prospects in the center field, Mickey Moniak. Again, I'm fine getting rid of these pitchers. I really want to solidify the starting rotation. I'm going to be looking for relievers as well to really solidify that. And we're looking really good at this point. I mean, our starting rotation consists of Arrieta, Montgomery, Carlos Martinez needs to come over here instead of Adam Warren, who's a reliever that we signed. So we have Adam Warren there. I mean, just look at this starting rotation. Aaron Nola, if he stays in the 80s, will be fine. Ben Lively's almost in the 80s. We got Warren in the bullpen. We got Hunter, Ramos, Luis Garcia, Thompson, Doolittle, and Nebel and Miller. We're looking really solid. Even our lineup's looking really good as well. As long as Nick Williams can contribute throughout the season, I think we'll be really good overall. Alrighty, so at the beginning of the year, this is going to be the lineup. Cesar Hernandez, Odubel Herrera, Ender Inciarte, Rhys Hoskins, Nick Williams, Michael Franco, Jorge Alfaro, and JP Crawford. On the bench, we have Kingery, Rupp, Cozens, Espinoza, and Tommy Joseph. And then pitching rotation is looking really nice with Arrieta, Martinez, Montgomery, Nola, and Lively. We got Warren, Hunter, Ramos, Luis Garcia, Doolittle, Nebel, and Miller in the bullpen. We're looking really set right now. Really, the only way we could get a little bit better is if we could find a way for Nick Williams to really boost his stats, or if we could find someone to trade for. So I might do that real quick, and I'll catch you all in a second. If not, I'll see you at the trade deadline. Definitely the last trade we're going to be making is Christian Yelich is coming to the Phillies. He's going to be moving into right field for us. We're getting rid of our probably the most hyped prospect, unless I can keep Sixto Sanchez and put in, yeah, I definitely need to put in Sixto Sanchez. He's hyped up, but at this moment I don't really see him coming into the rotation anytime soon. We're also getting rid of one of our pitching prospects that's 58 rated in Drew Anderson, and then also Adam Hasley. So those are the three we're giving up for Christian Yelich, but for 88 overall, and these stats look really nice. He's going to be joining the squad. He's going to be moving over to right field to fill that gap that Nick Williams is leaving. So let me fix this real quick and I'll show you the lineup. Alrighty, so this is the lineup with Christian Yelich in it now. It's Ender Inciarte, Cesar Hernandez, Christian Yelich, Rhys Hoskins, Odubel Herrera, Michael Franco, Alfaro, and JP Crawford. The team is looking unreal. It's looking really good. Pitching rotation is looking good. So we're gonna simulate to the deadline, and I'll catch you all in a second. I was looking for we got offered a trade for a reliever and for a center fielder that we're not using in Roman Quinn. We're gonna be getting Luis Avalon. So I'm gonna take this trade at bolster up our bullpen even more, and catch you at the trade deadline. At the trade deadline, we are 65-41. Looking at our pitching rotation, Carlos Martinez is our number one at 10-2 with a 2.61 ERA. Arrieta's right behind him with a 2.35 ERA at 12-3. Jordan Montgomery 10-6 with a 2.39 ERA. Nola, not too great, but he's 85 overall. He's at 6-11 with a 4.6 ERA, and Ben Lively 4-7 with a 4.21 ERA. Adam Warren's pitching decently, a 2.40 ERA over 48 innings pitched. Not too bad at all. Tommy Hunter just under 3 at almost 70 innings pitched, so he's carrying his weight as well. Avalon, the new pitcher that we have, is letting us down like crazy, and it looks like so is Luis Garcia. So maybe one more arm in the bullpen might do the trick. Doolittle at a 3.52 ERA, 2.63 for Niebel, and then Andrew Miller is at a 2.43 with 31 saves. So maybe we need to get rid of Avalon and Garcia and add one more bullpen arm. Enciarte is not doing too good in the leadoff spot, 252. Cesar Hernandez might need to move into it at the 300 average. He's looking really good there. Christian Yelich is hitting 260 with 11 homers. Espinoza is starting, so that probably means we have an injury to Rhys Hoskins, but he's hitting 300, which is nice to see. Odubel Herrera is hitting just under 250. Michael Franco at 227. He's been a little bit of a letdown at that position so far. JP Crawford's hitting 250, and he's developing quite nicely up to an 80, and Alfaro's 247. 215 for Kingery, 227 for Cozens. Nick Williams is sitting at 290, which is nice to see. Cameron Rupp at 272, and Tommy Joseph at 171. I want to see if Rhys Hoskins is out for 3 to 4 weeks, but he's hitting almost 300 with 18 homers and 51 RBIs. So he was doing pretty well prior to his injury. I'm going to try to sign one more reliever and maybe get rid of Avalon and Garcia because they're kind of letting us down in that spot. Alrighty, so at the deadline, we're going to be getting Paul Sewell of the Mets, potential 85 overall, righty. We're going to be getting rid of 3 players who, these 2 I'm not looking to use anymore. They're doing horrible in the bullpen. Jake Thompson's in the minors, and then I'm going to bring up Ramos to fill that one gap that we're going to be losing from, or that we're going to be gaining from Avalon and Garcia leaving. So this is the trade we're getting. Sewell is joining us, so we just need to move the pitching rotation so that Sewell is in there. We're going to bring up Ramos to the majors to fill that gap that we just had, and now it's looking really solid. 80s all throughout the bullpen, almost all throughout the starting lineup as well. The lineup's looking really good here. Espinoza's hurt, or the starter for the injured Rhys. Oh my god, I can't believe I'm forgetting his name now. Rhys Hoskins. Yeah, Rhys Hoskins. Oh man, I wanted to say Hopkins. I knew that wasn't right. Anyways, so with that trade, we're looking at a really solid lineup. All 80s in the bullpen, almost all 80s in the rotation as well. And then, except for Espinoza, this lineup's looking really nice. If Rhys Hoskins was in there, this team would be unstoppable, I think. We're going to sim to the end of the season. Let's make the playoffs, see how it goes. As you can see, we won our division, finishing 162, and we will be taking on the winner of the wild card playoff game. So we are going to be playing the Diamondbacks. We got Arrieta on the mound to start it against Taijuan Walker. Let's see if we've got our full lineup back and how everything finished at the end of the season. As you can see, Jake Arrieta is a 90 overall, 16-6 with a 2.66 ERA. Jordan Montgomery 14-8 with a 2.71 ERA. Martinez 12-3. He performed great. Nola, he did okay, 9-14 with a 4 ERA, but he's up to an 86. Lively's up to an 81 with just under a 4 ERA, and he finished 8-9. Our bullpen looks like they're doing really, really good. Everyone's still doing great there. Rhys Hoskins is back. He's up to a 90. So you can see Inciarte is looking pretty solid. He hit 260. Cesar Hernandez 290. Rhys Hoskins came back. He finished the year off at almost 300. Yelich almost 290. So we're looking really good with this squad. 250 for Odubel Herrera, 257 for Franco, JP Crawford at 240, Alfaro at 226, and we're looking really solid in this lineup. Kingery, he finished with a 238. He's almost up to an 80, and this team is looking really good. let's hop into the first game. We're going to simulate it, see how it goes. We get the W. Jordan Montgomery against Robbie Ray, lefty against lefty, game number 2. We win that. We're coming to Arizona this time. Let's see how it goes. Game number 3, and we sweep the Arizona Diamondbacks, and we will be taking on the Milwaukee Brewers in the next round of the playoffs. Jake Arrieta's back, and he performed lights out in the first game. 9 strikeouts and 8 innings pitched. First game, we win it 1-0. Second game, we take the L, so 1-1 in the NLCS. Let's see if we can pick up a win, get back on the good ways. We win 15-6. Aaron Nola, can he get us a 3-1 lead in the series? He can. And now we're going to finish it up with Jake Arrieta. Hopefully we lose it 3-2. Let's see how this one goes. It all comes down to this. Ben Lively, Brent Suter, 3-3 in the series. And we get eliminated in the playoffs by the Brewers. Oh, you've got to be kidding me. It's unfortunate to see us lose in the playoffs, but you know what? Let's look at the awards for the year. National League, Arcia won the postseason MVP. World Series MVP, we haven't gotten there yet, but Arenado won MVP for the National League. JD Martinez for the AL. Cy Young was Kershaw. Severino for the AL. Naquin for the AL and the batting title, and Eugenio Suarez for the National League. And then you can see the reliever of the year was Jansen and Kimbrel. Palka was the rookie of the year, and so was Almonte. Hank Aaron was Freeman and Trout. And then we got a bunch of gold gloves here. I'm just gonna skip through them real quick. As you can see, nothing too crazy happened, but that is so disappointing to see us lose. Let's see who's gonna win. It's the Yankees versus the Brewers in the World Series, and the Yankees defeat the Brewers in the 2019 World Series. But here it is, guys. This is the squad we ended off with. Ender Inciarte, Cesar Hernandez, Rhys Hoskins, Tommy Joseph, Christian Yelich, Odubel Herrera, Michael Franco, and JP Crawford. It's a pretty well-rounded team. Kingery is almost up to 80. Really, this is a really good team. Our pitching rotation is killer. You know, Lively obviously had to come in. He's the oddball out, really. Everybody else pitched pretty well. Martinez 1-2 in the playoffs, kind of let us down there. But overall, this is the team we're going to finish with, guys. I hope you guys do enjoy this rebuild. I thought we had a World Series winning team with this year's Phillies. If you guys want to see maybe another season and see if we can win it, hit that like button down below. Let me know in the comment section. But this is going to wrap it up, guys. I hope you guys did enjoy it. Obviously, the more I do these franchises, the better they are going to be, the more fluid they're going to be, and it'll be a lot better. Obviously, this was the first one. It was a test run. Everything was going pretty well. I really enjoyed it. And like I said, it's not a realistic rebuild. It's more of, let's get this team as quick as possible to be the best. And I feel like we really did that with this Philadelphia Phillies team. We made the moves. We got rid of some prospects. We brought in some ready talent, and this team looks really nice on paper. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, drop it a like, subscribe if you were new and enjoyed the content, and I'll catch you all in the next video. Peace.